before you watch this video, tonight, step outside. Look up. Somewhere above you, nearly 400,000 kilometers away, a lonely gray world silently circles our planet. The moon. It has been with Earth for over 4 billion years. It has watched continents drift across the planet. It has watched dinosaurs rule the Earth. It witnessed the rise of humanity, the birth of civilizations, every war, every discovery, every person who has ever lived. To us, the moon feels permanent, almost eternal. We rarely stop to think about how much our lives depend on it. Yet, without that silent companion hanging above our heads, Earth would be a completely different planet. Our oceans would behave differently. Our climate would become unstable. Countless species might never have evolved. Even human civilization could have taken an entirely different path.
What if
But today,
Earth had two moons?
we are not asking what
Let's
would
sketch
happen
it
if
out.
the moon disappeared.
First,
Instead,
the second moon,
we're asking
with its
something
gravitational
far
pull.
stranger. What if
Arrows
Earth had
show the
never had
force,
just one
curving
moon?
the orbital path.
Imagine looking into
Notes
the
on
night
tides
sky
and effects
and
complete the
seeing
picture.
two glowing worlds orbiting above your head, sometimes close together, sometimes separated across opposite sides of the sky, sometimes both full at the same time, bathing the planet in an almost magical silver light. Other nights, one moon would already be setting, while the other slowly climbed above the horizon. Some evenings would feel familiar. Others would look completely alien. Children growing up in this world would never draw a single moon in the corner of their pictures. They would always draw two. Ancient civilizations wouldn't tell stories about one guardian of the night. They would create myths about twin celestial gods, eternal rivals, lovers, brothers, or sisters forever chasing one another across the heavens. Every language on Earth would have different words for each moon. Sailors would navigate by both. Farmers would plant crops according to two lunar calendars. Poets would write about the dance between two glowing worlds instead of one. Entire religions might be built around the rare nights when both moons appeared perfectly full together. Those nights would become sacred. Festivals
This diagram
would fill
shows
cities
Earth with
light.
two moons,
Music,
and the tidal forces they exert
celebrations,
on the oceans.
ceremonies,
Gravitational pull
all
creates
inspired
bulges in
by
the
one
water, causing
breathtaking event
tides.
in the sky.
On farmland,
But
the water
despite
cycle is
all
essential.
their beauty,
Water
these two
evaporates,
moons
rises,
would not
and falls as
simply decorate our
precipitation.
nights. They would reshape the planet itself. Because every object with mass has gravity. Even something as distant as the moon constantly pulls on Earth. We don't notice it directly, but our oceans do. Every single day, billions of tons of seawater rise and fall because of that invisible force. That's what creates the tides. Now imagine adding another moon, another enormous source of gravity. Every hour, every minute, every second, both moons would be pulling on Earth's oceans at the same time. Sometimes they would work together, their gravitational forces combining into enormous tidal waves that swept farther inland than anything we experience today. Coastal landscapes would constantly change. Entire beaches could disappear beneath the sea before returning hours later. Rivers would flow differently. Estuaries would grow larger. Some islands might appear and disappear with the tides. Then, everything would change again. As the moons continued moving through their orbits, they would begin pulling in different directions. One moon might lift the Atlantic Ocean, while the other pulled on the Pacific. Some coastlines would experience weaker tides. Others would face unpredictable water levels unlike anything humans have ever recorded. The rhythm of the oceans would become far more complex. Marine life would have millions
What
of
if
years
Earth
to
had
adapt.
two moons?
Coral reefs
Let's
would grow
sketch it out.
differently. Mangrove forests
First,
would
the second
expand into
moon,
places
with its
where they could never
gravitational pull.
survive today.
Arrows
Countless
show the
fish
force,
species would evolve
curving
around
the orbital
entirely
path.
new tidal cycles.
Notes on tides and
Sea
effects
turtles might
complete the
hatch
picture.
according to the movements of two moons instead of one. Even whales, whose migrations are influenced by the moon, could develop completely different routes across the ocean. And then there would be the nights. Nights unlike anything we have ever experienced. Imagine standing on top of a mountain. The air is perfectly still. Above you, two full moons illuminate the landscape. Shadows stretch in two different directions. Rivers sparkle like flowing silver. Forests glow beneath an ocean of pale light. You could read a book outdoors without a flashlight. Travelers could safely walk for miles after sunset. Hunters would no longer depend on campfires. The world would rarely become truly dark. And while humans might enjoy these brighter nights, millions of other creatures would face an entirely new challenge, because evolution never stops adapting, and under two moons, life itself will begin changing in ways almost impossible to imagine. For millions of years, life on Earth would slowly adapt to a world illuminated by two moons. Evolution has no destination. It doesn't plan ahead. It simply rewards whatever survives. And in a brighter world, survival would mean something completely different. Many of today's nocturnal predators depend on darkness.
We sketch a predator
Owls
and
silently
prey
hunt
to
from
illustrate their
above.
relationship.
Wolves move through
Arrows
forests
show the
almost
evolutionary
invisible
pressure
to their
between
prey.
them.
Bait cats
Below,
wait patiently in
Earth's
the
two
shadows
moons
before
influence
striking
tides
with
and
incredible
cycles.
speed.
This
But
notebook
true
style
darkness will
captures
become
essence of
increasingly rare.
citations and pressures.
Every night, one moon, or both, would cast enough light to expose movement across open landscapes. Prey animals would detect danger much earlier. Predators would lose one of their greatest advantages. Over millions of years, natural selection would begin changing both hunter and hunted. Some predators would evolve darker camouflage. Others would become faster, quieter, or shift their hunting hours entirely. Some species might abandon the night altogether and become active only during dawn or twilight. Others might disappear forever, replaced by entirely new animals perfectly adapted to this brighter world. Insects would also change dramatically. Many insects use moonlight to navigate across enormous distances. With two moons constantly moving through different parts of the sky, those ancient navigation systems could become unreliable. New behaviors would evolve. New instincts would emerge. Entire ecosystems might look completely unfamiliar compared to our own. Birds would face similar challenges. Every year, billions of birds migrate using the stars, Earth's magnetic field, and the moon itself. But now, there would be two bright celestial landmarks instead of one. Evolution would eventually solve the problem, but migration routes could become completely different from those we know today. Even the oceans would continue changing. Imagine standing on a beach as two powerful tidal systems collide. The sea
Behold,
rises,
the twin
then
moons
falls,
rise.
then unexpectedly begins
Let the
rising
flames
again.
rise guide
Some
our
coastlines
spirits.
might experience several significant
Moons
tides
bless
every
our
single
paths.
day. Massive tidal flats would stretch for kilometers. Rich coastal ecosystems would flourish, but storms would become far more destructive. Whenever powerful winds combine with unusually high tides, entire coastal regions might disappear beneath the ocean. Throughout history, civilizations would learn a simple lesson: never underestimate the sea. Cities would not be built directly beside the coastline as many are today. Instead, they would rise on higher ground, protected by enormous seawalls, elevated foundations, and advanced engineering far earlier than in our own timeline. Ports would be designed differently. Harbors would constantly adjust to changing water levels. Some docks might even float, rising and falling with the tides. Ancient sailors would become extraordinary astronomers. Every successful voyage would depend on understanding the movement of two moons instead of one. Navigation charts would become incredibly complex. Entire professions would exist simply to predict the changing tides. Long before computers, long before satellites, people would already be calculating the dance of two celestial worlds. Then there is time itself. Today, our concept of a month comes from the moon. But what happens when there are two? Which one defines a calendar? The larger moon? The faster moon? Both together? Different civilizations might answer that question in completely different ways. Some cultures could follow the first moon, others the second. Entire empires might organize their years according to different lunar cycles. Imagine trying to coordinate trade, diplomacy, or even birthdays when neighboring civilizations don't even agree on how long a month should be. The night sky would shape culture in ways impossible to measure. Artists would paint two moons. Musicians would sing about two moons. Lovers would watch two moonrises together. Children would invent stories explaining why the moons never collide. Ancient kings would claim that one moon blessed their kingdom, while the other protected their enemies. Religions would tell stories of twin creators, twin guardians, twin gods forever watching over humanity. And sometimes, when both moons appeared perfectly full together, Millions of people would gather outside simply to witness one of the greatest spectacles nature could offer. Those nights would become legendary. They would inspire paintings, songs, monuments, and stories passed down for thousands of years. But despite all these cultural changes, humanity would eventually do what humanity has always done. We would ask questions. We would build telescopes. We would study the skies. We would calculate their orbits. And one day, we would decide to visit them. Because no matter how beautiful the night sky becomes, curiosity always reaches farther than the horizon. By the 21st century, humanity would no longer see two moons as extraordinary. They would simply be part of everyday life. Children would grow up watching two moonrises from their bedroom windows. Photographers would spend years waiting for the perfect moment when both moons appear together above the horizon. Travelers would cross the world to witness nights unlike anything imaginable. Entire festivals would celebrate rare celestial alignments. Cities would turn off their lights so millions of people could watch the sky. The greatest photographs in history wouldn't capture a single full moon. They would capture two. Space exploration would also unfold very differently. Humanity wouldn't dream of reaching just one moon. There would always be another destination waiting beyond it. The first lunar landing would become one of the greatest achievements in history, but it wouldn't be the last. Soon, astronauts would walk on both worlds. Permanent research stations would rise across their ancient surfaces. Scientists would compare two completely different moons, searching for clues about the birth of Earth itself. Spacecraft would constantly travel between Earth and its twin companions. One moon might become home to giant observatories, free from Earth's atmosphere. The other could grow into humanity's first industrial outpost in space, mining rare minerals, building spacecraft, launching missions deeper into the solar system. Looking back at Earth, astronauts would see something breathtaking, a blue planet forever accompanied by two brilliant moons, a sight so ordinary to them, yet completely unimaginable to us. But perhaps the most fascinating question isn't how science would change, or technology, or even civilization. Perhaps the greatest change would happen inside the human mind. Every generation throughout history has looked at the same sky, the same stars, the same moon. Those familiar lights shaped our myths, our calendars, our religions, and even our imagination. Now imagine replacing that sky with another. A sky where two moons slowly chase one another through the darkness. A sky where double moonlight paints two shadows across every mountain, every ocean, every city, every human face. Would our poetry sound the same? Would our stories? Would our dreams? Or would we become completely different people simply because the universe looked different every night? It's easy to think that history is written by kings, by wars, or by inventions. But sometimes, history is written billions of years before the first human is ever born, by gravity, by chance, by the quiet movement of worlds through space. A single additional moon could reshape oceans, rewrite evolution, transform civilizations, and inspire entirely different cultures across the planet. And yet, people living on that Earth would never think their world was unusual. To them, our night sky would seem incomplete, strange, almost empty. They would look at pictures of our world and ask, where's the second moon? Because normal depends entirely on the world you're born into. Somewhere in the endless universe, there may be planets with two moons, or 10, or none at all, worlds with skies more beautiful than we can imagine, and civilizations that have never known what it means to see only one moon hanging above their oceans. We may never visit those worlds. We may never even discover them. But asking questions like this reminds us of something important. The universe is under no obligation to look the way it does. Even the smallest change can create an entirely different history. So, tonight, before you go to sleep, step outside one more time. Look up. The moon you see has shaped every chapter of human history. But for just a moment, imagine another one rising beside it. Two silent worlds, two eternal companions, forever watching over Earth. And ask yourself, which sky would you rather call home? Thank you for watching.